What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching StrengthAddicts.com. I'm very pleased to have my good friend, IFBB Pro Theresa Ivancik, joining me today from Pennsylvania. Theresa, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, everything going on with the COVID-19 and the pandemic, the stay-at-home orders, the social distancing, the no-shows. It's pretty insane. But, you know, I've done interviews with Theresa before, and I definitely want you guys to check those out. But we're going to kind of dive into the action here because we've got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to keep her too long. She's very busy. But I did want to ask you, Theresa, about your experiences with this whole, pandemic, being a gym owner, a personal trainer, and of course an IFBB Pro.
It has its toll, and I think everybody's gone through some hard times through this. I did have a perk of having, my own gym, so I still did have access to that, and I still did have access to training, where a lot of people don't. But I do feel that, people are like, oh, you're so lucky if you're on gym, you're in gym. But I'll be honest, it really wasn't like that. I was depressed. My business is in jeopardy. It's still hard to keep focus, even though you still have access to a gym. You actually lose, a little bit of that. So I'm in the same boat as them, but just in a different kind of section of that. With our clients, and even for all my fans and followers, we had done a YouTube video describing different workouts you could do from home with bands and dumbbells and benches, just to keep everybody on track and motivated as much as they can. I do have a lot of personal training clients that I had getting ready for shows. I had a big posse of 12 girls and a couple guys that were doing some shows, and we did have some cancellations, but I've kept most of them spot on. We've had a little bit of ups and downs with the way we needed to change food due to all the cancellations, but I try to keep everybody as motivated as we possibly can. We're all in this together, and we all need to just lean on each other for the help that we need.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's been very interesting. I was telling you off camera about a post I saw today from Sean Hector Lewis, and I think in her county they had lost about 30 people, which is really sad. But at the same time, these stay-at-home orders are getting, there's no end in sight, and it's great that you're offering everything you're offering, but a lot of people are like, when is this going to end? When is everything going to go back to normal? And it's definitely very trying.
Jeff and I, we took the plunge. We did open. We opened our facility on Monday, and I am overwhelmed with the people and support that we have had for the business. During the shutdown, we've had people call us, and I have a list of all of the members that had said, please don't stop running my card. Me as a gym owner, we decided to freeze everybody on the spot and give them all their time that they actually paid for. People right now that are actually in the gym, they're traveling from West Virginia, they're traveling from Wexford, they're traveling from Ohio. We have tons of people that just joined the gym from all over, because my biggest thing with the facility is, we need to have some sense of normality, and we need to have people just start to feel better. They see people, everybody's happy, and every time somebody walked through my door, the first thing that I noticed was they have a smile on their face. And it broke my heart, because I did have a couple of people cry when they came in, and they can't believe that they're actually in a gym. But it's just what we do as people and what we want to do to help keep everybody healthy but still safe. We need the gyms, we need the facility. And I think a lot of people are starting to stand up and actually open their gyms, not just, just in the sake of the owner's point, where, this is our livelihood, this is our only jobs that we have, but just for the sake of all of our members and our people, that look upon this every day, whether it's even a stress reliever, or it's, you got your own personal goals, a different addiction, to it, but we're trying to help as much as we possibly can.
And it's very interesting because, and I think that's amazing, especially about, the folks smiling and some even crying. It's something that I spoke about with Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. He's got Carbon Culture, his gym. And there's a lot of folks out there that, in solidarity with small business owners have said, hey, just, keep billing my card because, there's no money coming into gyms. And, people are getting stimulus checks, but a lot of small businesses, they're SOL, so
yep.
I think people are really cool about doing that. Across the country in California, I found out by watching RX Muscle yesterday that Louis Uredell, who used to work at RX Muscle and owns his own gym in San Diego, was actually carted off to jail like the salon owner in Texas. Yeah. So, it's I personally think that these orders are good in the sense that, they've reduced the cases and all, but there's got to be some end, and the idea that people are being carted off to jail for making a living is pretty scary, you know?
I mean, that's where like Jeff and I talked about is like, you know, how can you let one man, your governor, you know, whoever, dictate, you know, how, you know, what he feels is essential or not, you know, and to tell me that, you know, I'm going to rip everything from you, you know, you possibly might not have a house, or I might have to take your car, but I'm going to take your business and you're going to live in a cardboard box. And we didn't put ourselves here. And I'm not going to leave like this either. You know, this is what we chose to do. This is my dream. This is my livelihood. And we're going to protect it at all costs. And I think the more people keep standing up, because I do keep seeing more gyms open, which is fantastic, you know, where everybody's following the CDC guidelines and, you know, they all got their rules and regulations and, you know, how you want to go about opening and things like that. But we need to start reopening the economy, because this isn't about just the COVID anymore. I mean, the economy is going down fast. And if we all don't stand up as people and business owners and do what we need to do, we need to bring this back sooner than later.
Absolutely. I saw an interesting petition, I believe, that a lot of the folks in Ohio are pushing. Mike Davies is pushing it, and I saw a lot of the coaches. Speaking of Ohio, to sort of segue off of this, because we could talk about this forever, you have a really good relationship, obviously, with Brian Hoydick, who coaches you, but also with Roc-En Pro, that I see a lot of connection there. So if you could talk about both teams and of course, working with Brian.
Working with Brian's been like fantastic. We had a game plan and we were going to do Chicago Pro and the Norfolk Pro this year. And unfortunately, those are getting moved and probably at a later date, you know, as long as with the big issue with the Rising Phoenix right now. I had put an invite in to get invited to the Rising Phoenix, which would be September 7th. I don't know if they're going to keep that date or if they're going to move it to another, you know, time, but we'll know if we got the invite as of June 1st. I did just go visit Brian, actually last Friday. We went and trained at his Rise Fitness gym, but it went over some things that we needed to do. And he's just been a fantastic coach, and I can lean on him for anything, ask him for any help at all. And we actually are merging teams a little bit, and he's helping me and I'm helping him. So anybody that I have at a show that I can't get to because I'm doing something else and he can be there, he's helping my people as well. So we're kind of grouping up as a big team and kind of doing things together. And he's just been amazing. And Roc-En Pro has been, you know, blasting all of our content and all our media out there like nonstop, and we love it. We absolutely love the support, and he's such a great guy, you know, to work with as well. We have a very strong relationship with Roc-En Pro as well.
He's awesome. And Brian, of course, you know, Roc-En Pro sponsored some of my contest coverage, and of course, TC Muscle sponsors like probably the lion's share of it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I really appreciate that very much. Speaking of Rising Phoenix, yeah, and I did see, unfortunately, that London Murray had to cancel her event, which is really, really sad. Of course, that was an amateur event, I believe the amateur pro event, but now, of course, with the new Olympia dates, which is such good news because so many people were worried that it wasn't going to happen, December 16th through the 20th, you know, really far out, which is good, you know, guaranteeing that there's probably not going to be any issues, you know, because it's so far out. And also, again, moving it from, again, the Orleans is I felt it was a little dated, you know, not a bad hotel, but a little dated. Going now back to the Las Vegas Strip of Planet Hollywood, you know, it's obvious that Jake has had a very strong influence in such a short – he hasn't even had one show yet. So what are your thoughts about the Olympia, and especially the fact that women's bodybuilding is coming back?
I'm super stoked about having female bodybuilding back, and Jake's been a phenomenal mentor, you know, my sponsor, and he's very, very aggressive business person, and he'll make things happen. Like, he's not going to sit on his hands. Like, you know, we just saw that he just flew out to Las Vegas, you know, last week to try to make, you know, the calls for what, you know, we needed to know the dates, like if they're getting moved. I think the Olympia will be a good year, you know, for everybody. It's just now trying to get the information out there to all the athletes on how are we going to qualify for these shows. When we project that these pro qualifying shows, like the qualifiers for the Olympia, are going to come out, like, are they still going to stay with, you know, the August shows, or since the Olympia is pushed back to December, you know, are you going to offer more in like October, November to get us the points to qualify to get to the Olympia? You know, it's obviously like our main goal is to get there, but right now it's kind of up in the air of when they're going to keep adding these extra pro shows that got canceled.
And that's going to be very interesting, especially obviously for competitors, because you guys have to get ready for the stage, but I think for your coaches as well, because, you know, there's not a lot of time. There's 7 months, and I know a lot of people would like to maybe qualify, you know, in a summer show and then have a couple of months, but you're basically going to have to peak twice. And I mean, like how strongly are you going to peak to qualify? Because again, if there's not a lot of shows, you might have to really go to that 100% mark just to get that qual. But then obviously you want to bring even more to the Olympia stage because it's the Olympia. So that's going to be very interesting.
I think like the main concern, I think with a lot of the people, and especially like to my athletes, it's when are these people specifically going to be able to get in the gym, you know, as one, because they do need a good run. I mean, if you're professional athletes or amateur athletes, it doesn't really matter. You still need that time in the gym. So when are these gyms going to open up to let these people get ready, you know, to actually get a full, you know, diet in full swing to be ready for whatever show they're actually qualifying for. And like you mentioned, if you're doing one a little bit earlier on, maybe even August, you know, you got to either try to maintain that physique in order to, you know, if you did qualify for the Olympia, to bring an exceptional, you know, phenomenal package to the O.
Right. And the other thing too is that now something that I was thinking about also is, you know, Jake and Wings of Strength have done such a fantastic job with the Rising King shows. But now that women's bodybuilding is once again offered on the Olympia stage, I hope that all of the pro shows start offering women's bodybuilding, you know, in terms of an opportunity to qualify, because especially given the fact that there's so little time.
I think, well, New York Pro, I think, added the back end too, you know, which was a good thing to see. And one thing that I did notice this year is our Olympia qualifying show list, which is all our pro shows, is phenomenally big. I mean, we've had added, like before, whenever I first started, like the female bodybuilding, there was only 5 we could do. Now I can't even count. There's probably like 10, you know, that we have the option to choose from, which is amazing. Because, you know, we went from completely sucking, you know, women's bodybuilding completely dry and eliminating it from a lot of these amateur shows too, to now actually putting it back in and actually bringing back a whole new look for female bodybuilding.
I agree, and I think also the fact that something that I brought up a little while ago, but I want you to weigh in if you'd like to. But there's also a lot of women. So, well, before I say that, real quick, the way that women's bodybuilding is coming back to the Olympia stage, I think, is really noteworthy. It's not coming back as, you know, they're not trying to be nice. It's not coming back as an add-on. It's coming back triumphant. You know what you guys, the Wings of Strength did with Linda, with Jake, all of you, you're coming back triumphant. You know, you're coming back like, you know, you belong there and you never should have left. And it's all about knowing your market, in other words, knowing your product and knowing your audience. I think people, when women's bodybuilding was being phased out as Iris Kyle was retiring, didn't know how to market it. Jake does, and it's coming back triumphant. So I think marketing is real important. I don't think the folks back in the day really knew what to do with it.
I mean, absolutely. Like I've always told myself that I wasn't ever going to go to the Olympia until I actually was going to compete in the Olympia. And actually last year, having the invite from Wings of Strength to go work the booth, that was my first time, you know, at the Olympia, and it was for a very good cause. And, you know, you walk in there and I saw myself on this banner, like right in the front, you know, the lobby. And I'm like, wow, it's really happening. And then, you know, we walk in and we see like the Wings of Strength booth at the Olympia, you know, and it's huge. You know, there's pictures, there's videos, it's the promotion and the production was so much different than what it's been in the past. And then they brought us up to do the guest posing there, you know, last year. So now it's just like putting the women out there even more and showing them how graceful and beautiful like women's bodybuilding can actually be, and marketing in that manner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember when they were phasing it out, I remember that a lot of the women, I remember Zoa Lindsay in particular, Colette Nelson, I mean, they were like saying, well, I can drop down to women's physique, which is horrible because they had to lose tons of muscle. I mean, it's, you know, or they were going to quit. And so that,
and I tried that.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, the one year I quit like female bodybuilding because it just like, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I'll go to women's physique. And the first year that I tried it, I did, I actually got first at Northern Americans, but I didn't get my pro card because I didn't get the overall. And I got 4th out of like 20 some girls in physique. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could do it. So the next year I actually went to women's physique all by myself again and didn't do women's bodybuilding and pretty much placed dead last and was told I was too big. So to even in a conditioning factor, even coming down, is the thickness of the muscle that separates you from the women's physique to the women's bodybuilding.
Right. and that's, I mean, if, God bless you that you had success in it early on and all, but for a lot of women, losing the muscle was almost as hard as getting it. And psychologically, like, it was a very sad time. And so segueing into the part where, I want you to weigh in if you want to, some women that did quit now are back.
I mean, I think it's amazing because it put like an old spark in them, to say, what, I can do this and I can come back and I belong up there.
But I think what's interesting too, though, is that the women's bodybuilding that they left isn't the women's bodybuilding today, in the sense that the quality and the depth is still there, but the look has changed.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree better. I mean, the best way to do it is like, you take from, the last Olympia that they had and where women's bodybuilding was a stand. And then you pull a little bit of that Linda Murray look in there, and you're kind of like intermixing, the old with the new, and you're coming up with this whole new, look.
And it's a very marketable look too. I mean, people, I have come across countless women over the course of the last, year to 18 months that are saying, I want to compete in women's bodybuilding. 4 or 5 years ago, never would hear that.
I mean, I think it was hard because sometimes you saw that look that they had. And if you weren't that big or you didn't think that you fit in, you just didn't do it. And you figured, oh, maybe I'll try women's physiques then, when really you could have done female bodybuilding. I think, like, even just for me, is like, who you have to go against and what they look like. But you have to work on yourself and bring the best version that you can of yourself. And then when you're on stage, showcase it, and you fit right in. It's just, you can't like try to be somebody else. So where your body is going to grow to and how it's going to develop is all based on your, your food and your training. And you have to bring the best version of you in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you are. I lost you for a split second. And if anybody thinks for a split second, I thought that your microphone was making noise. Those are actually birds chirping in the background. So that's cool. That's so awesome.
We have bird nests in the back of the gym.
Yeah, that's real. That's very, very, very like scenic and natural. The sky looks very beautiful. Not a special effect. This is Pennsylvania. So awesome. So, I definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Olympia stage, and I really think it's going to happen. Of course, there's people that are like, oh, they don't know, but the thing is, again, it's so far out. And that's huge. They're working with the venue. They're going to know so much more. I mean, we know so much more now in May than we did in March. And I really, really think that by then I think actually by midsummer, everything's going to be pretty much normal. I mean, there's actually states that are totally open.
I mean, the same thing too is like, I was talking to a couple higher up people, and it's not even the promoters. The promoters are the ones that would continuously keep doing this. It's the venues of where they're having these events held at that just doesn't want to take the risk to do it. And I think, like I was mentioning earlier, if more of these businesses keep opening up and they're like, okay, let's do this, we can do this. I think more people will do it and say, what, we have to keep going. We have to, bring things around. And I'm a little iffy to know if I guess if the venues will allow audiences. I guess that's my next, big question. Like, some of the shows that might start in August, and maybe even some in September, will it just be the athletes, and can these people hold these shows at these venues and still, with the cost, going back and forth, or are they going to make enough to hold the show? So there's going to be a lot of ups and downs with that yet too, is if, I guess, the audience is allowed to be there.
And I was going to talk to Gary about that, because poor Gary, I constantly text him and call him. I mean, he has these amazing patients. I'd just be like, leave me alone, But the thing is back to your point real quick, though, before I say this, it's never been the promoters. The promoters have always been 100% gung-ho. And for the most part, for junior nationals, the venue happened to cancel everything in a 3-month window, and junior nationals was in there. But for the, but that was a different time. But for the most part, the venues and the promoters especially, 100% gung-ho. The only thing that would stop it is the government, and that's unfortunately the ones that stop it. But relative to your question about the audiences, though, I don't know if, in fact, there's going to be audiences at some of these shows like summer shows, early fall shows. But something that I was going to maybe mention to Gary would be something along the lines of having a virtual ticket where, you could have the competitors compete at the show. Ideally we'd have the audience there, but if we didn't, maybe have, NPC News Online or someone like that, like, Cutting Edge, to record the show and maybe sell
Absolutely.
a virtual ticket. So, you know, the friends and family can watch it from their hotel rooms and you know, in spirit be there and not miss anything, but actually not be in the hall. And I don't know if that, I don't know the logistics, if that could even happen, but I mean, that would be a way to still bring money into the show, but also keep, you know, the spectators, because they don't want to miss anything. They want to see everything, all the also prejudging. It used to be people would never go to prejudging because it was too early, they didn't understand. Now you go to prejudging, you can't fit another person in there with a shoehorn. I mean, they're packed.
Oh yeah. That's, I mean, I agree with you, you know, and I think that, I mean, you see it more and more, you know, with everybody doing these like Zoom videos and even like some of the, like the virtual classes for some of these aerobics, everything's going more virtual. And if it has to go that way, you know, again, nothing's the same as being live in person, you know, but I feel that if that's what they have to do in order to bring an audience, kind of like how we live stream the Olympia, you know, it would have to be, it'd be the same format. It'd just be like, you're supporting your loved ones. You don't want to miss them compete, but you're still going to be there. And you get to watch it on your big screen TV, you know, but it's definitely an option so they could make money. And I have a feeling, you know, they might want to test it out on some of the smaller shows and see, you know, even how it goes first before they try to, you know, do it to a large show.
Sure. And again, that's just something that I just randomly thought. I've been thinking about it now actually for a couple of days, but like, you know, and you know, they do need money to come in because, you know, the shows are expensive. You know, you still have to rent the hall. They still want their money. You know what I mean? You still got to pay like all the labor costs and you know, so the shows need money to work. But I also think too, like you said, you know, if folks are watching them, you know, they're watching their loved ones. It's even something where I don't even think security would be that big of an issue. Who's going to like share passwords? I mean, it's an honor system, you know, people go to bodybuilding shows. I've left my wallet. I've left, you know, my camera, like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. And it's always right there. Nobody,
nobody ever touches anything.
Yeah. It's a family sport. And so everybody there wants the, you know, the family, the sport to benefit. So I really think it could be something. I really do. And like you pointed out with the Olympia and Zoom, you know, Zoom, you get a link and a password. And with this, you could do it for free for up to 100 people. I think the option is like a few bucks, but I really think it would be something.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, we want to see the show still continue to go on. You know, I still have a large group of girls hanging in there, you know, for that show to open up. I mean, we're still in prep. We were like 6 weeks out. Now we're 16. But I mean, it's as a coach, it's keeping them level-headed. It's keeping them focused, understanding why they're looking a certain way, and, you know, keeping everybody like, I mean, this is the sport. This is the industry. We all need to come together and, you know, work together. And I mean, I'm, you know, just massively impressed with the way that, you know, my clients have been handling this the whole time. And it's just the support. And like I said, like I had a conversation with Alicia Young the other night, you know, and a couple other girls just on, you know, our opinions on what we think that maybe we could do to get this thing moving. And, you know, Alicia even had mentioned to have a Zoom conversation with all us girls with Alina, you know, to have us all put our, you know, input in to see how we can get these shows out and going the right way.
Absolutely. And like my mind's always racing. So I was even, as you were speaking, I was even thinking about like how they could have like the stage, you know, live, obviously, because it would be live. And then they could say, we're going to come right back to the action. We got Frank Seppi backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Because the folks in the audience, they never get to see backstage. I mean, they might see it if they go on NPC News Online, which they should go. But a lot of people, you know, but if it could be part of the whole package, like, you know, they could go backstage. They could
could get them pumping up like right before they walk out, and you get to see something that you don't get to see because it's behind stage. Yeah. You know, so it's just that little bit more that you could add to it.
And then you could have like a correspondent, like with the vendors, be like, we're here at the Phoenix Fit Bars booth with Mary Beth Ewing. Mary Beth, what do you think of the show? And now we're going back to you with front stage access.
I mean, it's honestly something to look into at this point in time. Absolutely.
Yeah, it could be something. It would be awesome. It would be, and then you could even take the whole clip, the whole thing, like they used to do back in the day, and sell the DVD. But you could sell it like on a zip file or
a download or
something. Yep. Yeah. So that'd be awesome.
I think it's a good idea. It's almost like a mini reality TV show kind of thing with like all the NPC and IFBB shows. Like, and I think it would help out a lot of people to understand the sport as well, because a lot of people don't understand literally what goes on behind the scenes. Even if you got to take some clips of girls getting their makeup done, you know, and then we're like getting like bronzed up, and then we're getting all over oil on. Like, I think a lot of people don't see all that behind the scenes to understand all the stuff that we do to get to that 1 minute on stage.
Exactly. You know, and I really, I mean, not that I go through it, but like I'd make a very ugly woman. But like the thing is though, is that people are like, oh my God, they're like, their jaws dropped. They're just, you know, how perfect you guys look on stage, but there's a whole process. Doing the contest coverage, I've come to the realization, like from like the folks at Olympia Tan, they might sleep 2 hours the night before the show because
Oh yeah, I can vouch that.
yeah. Oh, that's right. So there's people like at 3 a.m. that are waiting to get like their tans done, their hair and makeup done. So like you said, what you see on stage is a finished product of weeks and weeks of so much work. Like you said, for 1 minute, but for that 1 minute, it's like the whole world stops.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I said. Like, I think, like I said, the general public, I think, would attach more to the fitness industry if they understood what really happened in it, you know, and some might be more intrigued and say, you know what, I'm going to test myself out and do this. You know, it might be a 16-week, 12-week, you know, and then you do all your training, you do all your eating and all your cardio and all that stuff. And then you're like, okay, well, guess what? We still have to go buy a suit. We got to get our nails done, our hair, you know, buy your jewelry, get your shoes, practice your posing. Like, there's all that other stuff that, like, some people don't really, you know, understand.
No, absolutely. 100%. So again, it would be something really cool. I do want to say though, if you want to give out any links, any websites, anything, because Theresa actually has a teleconference at 2:15 and it's 2:08. And I told her we were only going to do 15 minutes. And of course I lied, because here we are still talking. So anything you want to plug, your gyms, your personal training. There was even something else I wanted to say and I forgot, but that's okay. Because I think people are really going to want to follow you. And also on Instagram, you're up to, I remember when you got 100, but you're up to 167,000 followers. I mean, that's amazing.
Yep. I'm super excited about that. But I'm sure we're going to do this again. But my Instagram is T Ivancik and then _IFBB Pro. You can follow me on Facebook as well with the Theresa Ivancik. I have a TheresaIvancik.com for my website. The gym is harlanselitefitness.com. And also on Instagram, Harlan's Elite Fitness. That's pretty much our main business. We also have a t-shirt company too, which we're going to be making some stuff for the MPC, which we're super excited about that as well.
Very cool. Very cool. And I want to thank you for coming by. And what I was going to say was, when you said that folks were all smiling and even crying when they got into the gym, I think we're going to see the same thing when people finally get to go to an MPC show.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. This is our livelihood. This is what we're going to fight for, and we're going to continue to keep doing it. And I think this will actually make the fitness industry even stronger.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much to you, to your amazing cameraman. This is Christian Duke, strengthaddicts.com.
Thank you.